everyone, this is Lori from the Crafting Auntie back with you with another project. Now this is a brand new devotional kit from Carolyn's Musings, and this is called Threads of Hope for October. So if you've watched any of my other devotional kits of Carolyn's, they are pretty much the same as far as the pages and the devotionals for each day, along with prayer requests and lined paper and just some beautiful images. But then there's the day-to-day devotional, and they are pretty much the same. It's just different scriptures. So I thought today I'd try to do just a simple devotional. So I am using a couple of pieces of 65-pound craft cardstock to create the cover. So let me give you some dimensions. So the first piece is a full 8.5 by 11. You will score at 5.5 and 6 1/4, and that's going to give you a 3/4 inch spine. Now I've broken this down into 3 signatures, and I'm going to use some small, tiny eyelets because I only have 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to be using these little guys. And so, first piece, 8.5 by 11, score at 5.5 and 6 1/4. Piece number 2 is 8.5 by 5.5, and then you will come in and score at 1 3/4 and 2.5, and that gives you the other 3/4 inch spine. Now what I've done here is I want about a 3/4 inch that I'm going to be gluing onto this, because when I cover this piece, let me just show you, I needed to make sure that I had this figured out so that the piece would lay nicely in here and have a small border. So what I did is I just laid it where I wanted it, marked it, and then I drew a line. So that way I could have something to follow. So the first thing, oh, and I have inked everything with walnut stain, and this is just the distress ink, so that's what I've used. And let's see if there's anything else I need to think about. You'll see the pages as we go along, and of course I will do a final flip through. Now I'm using 2 kits. So I'm using Threads of Hope devotional kit, and I'm also using, because I thought it went so well together, page from Abiding in Bloom, and it just really went so well. So I'm going to be using some of that on the inside, and then I'm going to use the actual cover that it comes with the kit, and then anyway, I have a fun idea for that. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this piece right here inside here so it'll be covered, and then that's going to give me that extension that I need. So when this folds over and this comes over the front, we have a nice little front, and I have an idea for this. Okay, so I'm just going to add some glue here. I'm just using art glitter glue, my usual. It's either that or it's Fabri-Tac or Fabri-Fix. Okay, then I'm going to line up my pencil mark to each side. Ooh, I'm way off here. Let's get this straightened out. So right about there, I think that looks about right. Just press it down really good. So now that creates our little journal cover. And I wanted a little bit more space here because the pages, when they're in, will have a little bit more room. And then I also want to add something else in here. Okay, so that's our first thing. And then the next thing I want to do is I'm going to cover all of the outside, all of the inside, including spines that I have already prepped. So that's what I'm going to do next. It's hard to tell if this is the right way. So I am just going to go for it. So I can't cover this piece, but I can do this one on this side. I just got a little border around everything. And then we're going to use magnets. Now you can also use Velcro if you choose to. I had this idea in my mind of what I want to do for the front, and I thought magnets would work best. So that's what I'm going to do. So I have these magnets that I get from Amazon, and they're pretty strong. But I think I want to use 3 of these. So what we want to do is add our magnets here, and then when we cover this, it will be covered. And then we also want to add our magnets here so that they come over the top like this. So I think what I'll do is we're going to need 6. So I'm just going to position the ones here. These are pretty thin. And then also, depending on how much paper you put on is going to determine how many magnets you want. I think 3 is going to be okay for this because we're just going to have the cardstock over the top and on both sides. So I think that will be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just add some glue here and place these. Then I also want to cover them with double-sided tape. Okay, so this is like 1/2 inch or 3/8 inch. Doesn't really matter. You just basically want to cover them to make sure they're going to stay down in place. Okay, now we need to do our other magnets. So I'm just going to have 3 pieces of double-sided tape, and I'm going to take my, whoops, that worked out pretty good. Okay, we want to add the sticky side up and then make sure that the magnets are going the right direction. So let's just that one there, and then this one here. And then we're going to add the double-sided tape to the bottom. And that way we make sure that that is sticking correctly. And here as well. And that's going to help us to get these put in place here. Now what I want to make sure is that I'm coming over so that I'm not crooked, I'm straight up and down. So I think that looks pretty good. And then we just need to really press on these. You open it up and then press these down really well. So now we should have a nice straight closure. And now we can cover this. And now we have our closure. You're probably thinking, oh my gosh, you can't see the beautiful flower. Okay, so here's my plan. I cut another one of these, and I backed it with some of the Abiding Bloom. And I want to match it up here and glue it down here so it will come over like that. So the only thing I need to do is just line it up and then kind of put my finger where I need to put the glue. So all the glue needs to go on this side. So let's just go straight up. So we're just going to glue half of this down to this side. So as you're doing it, just take your time and line it up. And then you can open it up and press it down. Isn't that fun? See, I need a little bit of glue right here. I just wanted to come up with something different. Now, you could also add more laces, but look how pretty that looks. And when you open it up, you get to see the gorgeous image as well. Okay, so one other thing that I want to do on the inside is in the kit, we have this window, which I've already prepped. The only thing I have to do is add the acetate. So I'm going to move this over here. Now, you're going to want to score here and here. Typically, I just fold it. If you want to use your scoreboard, by all means, do that. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I can just get a better fold by doing it this way. And then, of course, you want to go ahead and use your bone folder to get a nice, crisp fold. And I put the Abiding Bloom on the inside as well, so you had something pretty to look at. Okay, and then we want to fold this. This is going to be our flap. And I'm going to fold it the opposite way. Okay, so with this now, I thought we could seal this and then add this as a flip, and you would still have the Abiding Bloom paper. Okay, so I just want to make sure I'm not messing with my fold. So I want to make sure this is going to move freely. Is that the right way? Oh, actually it goes this way. This is what I thought it did. Okay, so all I'm going to do is add, first we got to do the acetate. Don't forget that, Lori. Okay, so we're going to add our acetate here. Okay, now we're going to glue here and here. That goes inside his Peace in the Storm. You know, whenever I've gone through storms of life, I always know that I have God's peace, and that is such a comfort to me. Okay, I have another idea for this. I want to make sure this is sealed. See this fan right here? Our gorgeous Carolyn, she gives you one that you can pop up. Now, I thought I would put this on the outside, and then that way you've still got that when you pull this out. Or you could put it on, just glue it down. I was looking at it trying to decide what I wanted to do, and I really think I want to pop this up on the outside. So I have some pop-ups here. So I'm just going to use these. I got a few of these left. And I'm just going to put the there. And then let's just, yeah. So I think that'll be fun. try to come up with some different ideas for you. Now you could pop this up on the card. Maybe you decide to put something else in this window. It's entirely up to you. So many things you can do differently. Oops. Oh, that's sticky stuff. Okay. Let's make sure we're lined up. Okay, so now we have a 3D effect. I don't know if you can see that. 3D. So let's go ahead and put this in right here. Isn't that fun? Now you could also decorate in here if you want to. So we also have some pockets. Let me just show you some of these, and then I'm going to go ahead and put things together here. Okay, so this page has a pocket that mirrors right here. So we can glue that down. Right about there. So now that gives us a matching page, so you always have the gorgeous print. Now this one has a side pocket this way. So we are going to glue these 3 sides. Got it. So we glue that down. And she does this on several of her kits. I think it's amazing. I just love it. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, and then the last one here, this one is for the shoe. There we go. So those are the gorgeous pages with pockets. And then inside we have all of the devotionals. So those are pretty much the same. So then decide which one you want first. And then we also have cards. So we can go ahead and put one in here. Just make sure that's dry. And we have this one. Carried in his arms when I am weary, lost or small, he lifts me up and holds it all. No fear can harm, no night alarms, for I am carried in his arms. And I've just put the Abiding in Bloom on the back as well. So we can just fold this. Press. And I'm going to be doing an elastic binding. And then I'm just going to ink this edge now that I folded it. And then this can just tuck right in there. And then here we can put this one. And then I have a couple more. So what I think I'm going to do is add this pocket right here. And then we have this butterfly. And I think we'll pop that up. This, pop up the butterfly right there. And then we can add this card. Thanks be to God who gives us victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. The battle is won, the grave defeated, and hope secured forever. We stand in his victory today. And then I'm just going to go ahead and tuck that in there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is let's go ahead and put our eyelets in. So I'm using the small ones because I think that we are going to need tiny ones. This is my miscellaneous eyelets, and I see I need 6, not just 3. So let me just take that out. And let's get 3 more. I wasn't thinking when I put them out yesterday. And then we're just going to use the very small setting on the crocodile for the punch. Now I'm just going to eyeball it, and I'm coming down a little bit as close as I can to the edge without it messing up, and then that way I have room so that the pages don't get cut with the elastic. So I'm just going to put 3 holes, and I am just eyeballing it. Oh, I guess it helps if I get this moved down. I had to take some WD-40 and oil my crocodile because it was squeaking terribly and it was hard to press, so that's what I did. Okay, and then we want to put these on from the outside in, and I've already got my crocodile set up for the small eyelets, so just take your time. These are pretty soft, so they don't take much effort at all. Oops, don't go anywhere. Runaway eyelet. So oops, just take your time on this. And I'm not pressing very hard because, like I said, these are really soft. They can get out of shape rather easily. Okay, so we have our first 3, and then we're going to do the same thing on this side. Small holes, and just do the best you can. I'm getting 3 holes. You're welcome to measure. I do a lot of eyeballing, and that's okay. You guys do whatever is most comfortable for you. Okay, so let's get these pressed in a tiny bit more. There we go. And then we will put our pages in. I think what I might do is do a little bit of additional decorating. Oh my goodness, come on, let's get in there. Off camera. And then I'll come back to you because I want to see if there's some laces that I might have that might just set this off. And then I'll come back and I will do a final flip through. So I just wanted to show you this first because some of you have asked, to see putting in the eyelets. So I thought I'm going to go ahead and do that. So let me just close up my glue, and then we're going to get our elastic. Now I have some brown elastic that I think will be fine. All right, so I have my 3 pieces of elastic, and so I am just going to feed them each through and then add our signature. And I think I want this one in front. And then we're just going to tie it in the center, just like this, just so it's snug. And then I like to do a double knot. So let's do that. And cut off the excess. Just like that. Now this makes it easier to be able to take your pages in and out. And then I'll just give them a good press both ways. And then we're going to do the next one. So that actually puts together your devotional. Super fun idea for the front. And then we've got something fun on the inside. Now you can add more decoration here. And then you've got pocket here, and then you've got your signatures. So what I'm going to do is do a little bit more decorating off camera, and then I'm going to come back to you, and we're going to do a final flip through. Okay, she is finished. And I love her. I think it's just beautiful. I did a little bit of decorating, not a whole lot. So let's get started. So here I had some filigrees that I had purchased from Amazon, various shapes and sizes, so there was a combination. And I thought these looked really fun to add to the front of this side of the cover. I also added some of that flaky gold that's so messy, but I absolutely love it. So I went ahead and added that to the flowers, and then I added corners also here. And when you open it up, I also added corners here. And I also did the gold here. So either way, you have a beautiful look to your journal. Now I added some really faint pink lace here. You can barely see it. You can see it better on this side. So both sides here. And actually, that's really all I did on the outside. So then we'll open it up. And we did this together where this pops up, and this is a flip out. So you can always add pockets. You can add maybe a notepad with writing paper. It's entirely up to you. So let's go ahead and we'll quickly go through the journal. Now I did add laces to just 2 pages, the same page folded on each signature, just to give it a little bit of pretty lace to go with the laces in here. So here is our pocket that matches, and we're going to add this. And then here we start into the journal. And here's where I've added the lace. Now you've got notes, and then you've got your passages and more notes. So they are pretty much the same each journal. And then also added lined paper, and then this is your prayer request. So I put that in the center, and let me just skip through because that's pretty much the same. And then I added the lace on the other side of the same page, and then that completes that signature. Here's where we put the card, and that is also a matching page with pocket. I just love those. You could really go overboard. I thought about putting resin, and I just thought, no, they look so pretty the way they are. I'm going to leave them. And here's where I added the lace again. So I used the same lace on all the pages. Not very wide or anything, and not very bulky, but just enough to add a little bit of beautiful texture. So again, we have all of the writing, scripture, and this one just has all the devotional in this whole signature. And here's the other piece of the lace on the back. And then here's the last signature with a pocket that matches. And I added this one in here. And I added the lace on the second page like I've done on all the others. And then this one in the center has quiet time reflection. So when you're doing your study and you just want some quiet time, you just want to reflect on what you've learned or about the chapter and verse, then here's a place for you to do that. And then we have the lace on this page here, and all of the pages have some gorgeous, very muted, beautiful pictures, flowers and laces, and just very, very elegant. And then back here is where we have the pocket with 2 of the tags. Now this you could also add, if you wanted to, you could add this to the front somewhere on here. I chose not to because of what I did to the front. So I'm going to just tuck it back here. And then this is where we made this little cutout. I did this on cardstock and then added cardstock to the back from that Abiding Bloom kit. And then here we have the filigree, corners, and lace, and the gold. So that is the October Threads of Hope devotional. I hope you guys will give this a try. Really, they're so easy to put together, and you don't even have to do it like this. You could do them as a regular journal, and they could be just a small journal. You don't have to do elastic binding, but this makes it nice to be able to take them out and write on them and then put them back in. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope you guys will give this a try and go out and check out Carolyn's kits. I will have all the links below. so you can go and find them easily. And we will see you at the next video. So God bless you all. Bye.